Friday, 31st of January 2025. The US session has just opened. I am planning a few mechanical entries for this session. Last session of the week, so hopefully let's finish strong. In the morning session, I had one trade open. Still, when I finished recording, it was this one. I let it run. My target was somewhere around here. We tried breaking out of this resistance quite a few times. The third time here, I was almost certain we were going to break out, but it didn't happen. So my stop loss got hit, and that's fine. This was the morning session of today. Just the 4 trades. Stopped break even for gold, 2 wins, and the Dow and the UK 100, and this little loss in the DAX. So nothing too major. A profitable morning. And now focusing on the US session, I will be looking at the break of the second 5-minute bar in the Dow. And then I will be looking for the break of the second 15-minute bars in gold and the DAX. And normally also the break of the first 15-minute bar in NASDAQ. However, if it's too large of a bar, I might skip it, but we'll see. Right now it's fine, but we're just 3 minutes into the session. So I will wait as things happen, and I will bring you back when we are close to an entry. So if you don't know, and this is your first time watching one of my videos, I generally use mechanical entries on very specific time frames and at very specific times. I track these entries and I just place buy and sell orders above and below a certain candle on a certain time frame. Candles that I research, and I know how much points they make and lose recently. So for example, we have the second 5-minute bar in the Dow that will start forming in a few seconds. And for this bar, in the past 14 trading days, we have made 347 points approximately. Now, these aren't the maximum points that you could have made. These are reasonable points you would have made had you placed a buy order above the second 5-minute bar and a sell order below, and just took the first fill and deleted the other order and then placed a reasonable target. And the way I place my targets is I look at how many points this method has brought when we got filled and reached our TP or reached our target. So I look at how many points it's earned on those days, and I calculate an average and what's a reasonable expectation. And of course I also look at the structure. So it's a combination of looking at the structure and how many points I've made in the past on that strategy, or that strategy has made in the past, because I track them regardless if I take them or not. There are several entries that I haven't taken at all on video because they're not working right now, but I still track them because they have worked in the past in some cycles, and I expect them to work again at some point. And by work I mean to get to a period where it generates more points than it loses, pretty much just by doing mechanical entries with orders of going long above a certain candle and short below a certain candle. So once the second 5-minute bar completes in the Dow, this is going to be our first entry. I'm going to place a buy order above and a sell order below, I will be risking at maximum 0.5% on the account, and I'll fix a target and we'll see what happens. So I will bring you back to that moment. So we are like 40 seconds away from completing the second 5-minute candle, and my research is showing that if we place a buy order above and a sell order below, on average we make more points than we lose. And I need to stress this at this moment in time. So for the past few weeks and months, this has been working well. At one point it will stop working, and that's when I will stop taking it, and I will take it until it has a few bad days in a row, and then I stop using that entry, and I just wait for it to work again, so I keep tracking it. I have a spreadsheet where I track all of these entries, and I'm just placing the buy order like 5 to 6 points cushioned. I'm not going to place it at the exact extremity because price does like to revisit the lows, the extremities, the lows and highs, and then reverse sometimes. So you want to try to avoid some bad fills. Now that's not going to always be possible. You're sometimes going to have a fill and then see price go the complete opposite direction. But the only thing that matters is you make more money than you lose on average in the long run. So I have the orders placed here, and now the next entry that I will be looking at is a break of the first 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq. So I'm just checking the size of the bar, 718 to 646, so it's like around 60 points, which is fine. I generally prefer for this bar to be under 100 points, but I will still take it if it's a bit above. I won't take it if it's like 150 or more, because I just have to lower the sizing too much, I feel, and the stop is just too far away because the stop will always be at the other side. So which order gets filled first, I will delete the other and place the stop in its place. So say we fill long here in the Dow, I will delete the short order, and you will see the stop loss in the place of the short order. And this is how I trade. These are most of my entries, so most of my entries are mechanical. Of course, I still take price action and support and resistance trades, or supply and demand, however you want to call them. I still look at key levels here, and as you can see on my screen for each index, I do have these squares, and they represent just the different sessions. So blue is Asia session, yellow is London session, and green is New York session. And this is important because a lot of the times price likes to raid one of the extremities of a previous session and then reverse. So for example, here we raided the lows of London session, so I am kind of favoring a long position here, but because I'm using a mechanical entry here, I am prepared to take this whichever way it fills first. And a lot of the times you are going to be reluctant to go short at the bottom of a range or long at the top of a range, but with this strategy you don't have to worry about that as long as you do your research and you know that the strategy works on average. You can easily be comfortable to keep shorting at the bottom or going long at the top. So we have been filled short here. I am deleting the long order and dragging the stop loss in its place. I could have actually gone higher on the sizing here. I'm just risking $28, but that's fine. Playing it a bit smaller, I guess. So for this particular strategy, just checking now, I think on average when I'm right, and what I mean by right when I win, on this entry I make between 80 to 100 points. A few times I've made 50 and 60 points. One time I've made 180. One time I've made 70, 65. So I think to be somewhere in between, I think targeting 80 points here is appropriate. And looking at the structure, I think it's the lower end of this ranging here, not even all the way down at this wick's extremity. So I think this is a fine target. Again, we probably should have had a bit higher sizing. I could add a little extra here. I'm gonna add a little extra here. So now I'm risking like 42 to make like 53, 54. And the beautiful part about this strategy is that with the entries being mechanical, you don't really have to stress too much. You have a clear understanding of where you're going long, where you're going short, how you're executing. You don't have to think about things like, am I at support, am I at resistance, is there demand here, is there supply, should I go long here, should I go short here? You're following a clear methodology and a clear plan. And if your research is showing that this plan is profitable, then you can just follow it and do your best with execution and respect your rules and be prepared for anything to happen, because you have no control about what happens. So if we come below here, we're looking weak, but of course we might still be raiding the lows of London session and reversing back into the range. I'm fully aware of that. So I'm just letting this run and hoping for the best. And the first 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq has completed. So let me quickly, 719. So it's the same. Like what, 70 points? So let's go with this sizing. I will go long above. Again, 5 to 6 points cushion for the Nasdaq as well. So short below, long above, and whichever gets filled first, the other gets deleted and stop in its place. Nice initial reaction for the Dow here, but we're still quite far away. Obviously, you have to consider that we are, I think we touched all-time highs. You could say we're at some resistance, but at the same time, look at the strength of this rally. So I'm not gonna be too bearish here, but obviously we now have a target. The target has been decided by using both structure and my research of what this particular entry usually brings when you win on it. So I think we have all the chances here to hit TP, and if not, that's still part of our plan, because sometimes you won't win. You cannot win every single day, no matter how good your entry is. But just to show you something here, so in the UK 100 this morning, I entered here. It was an entry based on the break of the first 15-minute bar. We got filled long. So as you can see, I bought basically into this resistance. And my target was right here. And my target was, again, placed by using both the structure and the research that I have on this entry. So I looked at my spreadsheet and saw that a lot of the times we win like 17, 18, 20 points on this move. And from the point of entry, it was 674. So I went 18 points. I went in between 17 and 20, and we just hit before reversal. So I was able to pretty much snipe the top here. Now obviously you have to get a bit lucky as well, but it's not just luck. When you see something like this, it's quite similar in the Dow as well for the morning. So showing you the trade from this morning, it was again a break of the first 15-minute bar to the upside, and I calculated a target using both structure again and my research. I decided this was an appropriate target, and you see I exited close to the top again. So it's not only good luck, it's based on research and it's based on probabilities. And no, I'm not thinking of closing trades early unless I see something that truly warrants it. So looking at the structure here, this is also part of the consolidation, and Asia low is here, so my target isn't below this extremity, so I think, yeah, that's perfectly fine. If we reverse here completely, that is fine as well. And for this particular entry, I can also move the stop loss a bit, because if we go back into the range here, I don't think we're gonna sell again. So I can minimize my risk now and lower my stop loss and just hope that we hit here. So we're risking like 20 now to make 53 or 54, whatever it was, which is much nicer. So yeah, I'll manage this position and wait for a fill here. And the next entry will be the break of the second 15-minute bars in gold and the DAX. But I just need this bar in the DAX to not be very long. And it is over 50. Oh no, it's not. It is a bit larger now, but it's not over 50 points. So let's see. We're getting close to TP here, 20 points off. And we got filled in the NASDAQ. So deleting the short order, placing the stop, risking exactly $51, so 0.5%. And now I will decide on a target here. So for my target, on long positions in the NASDAQ based off the break of the first 15-minute bar in the US session, I've made 70 points, 70 points, 80 points, 90 points, 60 points once. And on short positions, I've made 90 points, 110 points, 50 points. So I would say like 70 points is the most likely target. Let's see what that looks like. So 70 points is here. For $41, that's under 1-to-1 R&R, which is something I don't really like. It could go $80, 80 points, sorry, to make it close to a 1-to-1. But I just think that looking at the structure here, we have filled this gap. So I'm not gonna get too greedy here. And I will keep the 70 point target, 71 point target here. Let's say for $43 or almost. It's a bit below 1-to-1, which I rarely go for, but I think it's fine to do here. And we're 5 minutes away from completing the second 15-minute bars. We're doing another push lower here. Kind of would like to hit this soon. On this particular entry, you do kind of want to see a TP being a bit faster. So I'm just going to close the original trade here and just let the add-on run. Solely because of past experience with this particular entry. And with this add-on now, because it's quite a small add-on, I think I can be a bit more ambitious here. Let me just think for a second. So we kind of rejected the top. We have this supply here. This was caused by a tariff announcement yesterday from President Trump, but I felt like seeing it getting bought out so quickly kind of invalidated it. But now the Dow does look capable of perhaps reaching even half of this range. So I'll just target this area here instead and move the stop loss to break even on this little add-on. Okay, so I think that's fine. Have a little runner for a little bit of extra possible cash there. If the market wants to go even lower, you have actually watching what happens when we go below Asia session here. We might just go below in reverse here, but I'll let this run for now. I was looking at the Nasdaq, and this is something you see quite a lot in the past few months, where in the first 30 minutes to 1 hour, you see the Nasdaq and Dow going completely against one another. So this is something that you see quite often lately. So it's not really that uncomfortable for me to be long Nasdaq and short Dow, especially since I closed one of the positions. So I think we would have hit TP on the original. Yeah, we probably would have. Yeah, but it's fine. I exited a bit early just because of previous experience with this particular second 5 minute in the Dow entry. I'm quickly checking the size of the bar in gold here. So it's a 5-point bar. I'll have to go a bit lower here, like 0.7. So again, in gold, we're at all-time highs here. And I was saying this morning, and I was saying it yesterday as well. Yesterday I went long here in the London session twice. So I added to my winning position, exited here, and then I had another trigger, another entry model, which was the break of the first 50, the break of the. Actually, no, this wasn't on the model. I think this was on a different entry that I did. It was a price action entry, but I just went long at a worse price than when I exited, and I still won. So the lesson here is don't be afraid to keep going long if you see that price wants to go there. And this is the beauty of the mechanical entries. They just take you where price wants to go. And obviously sometimes you'll lose, but you're allowing yourself to win a lot when the market wants to just go in one direction. And you won't miss out on big moves like we had yesterday. So I got most of the move yesterday, which was really nice, on 3 separate positions. And you can see them somewhere around here. This is one of them, and these are the other 2. So we're almost gonna complete the second 15-minute bars here. Now the bar is a bit large and it does require a bit of careful maneuvering because we are at its extremity here. I use a half a point cushion in gold. I'm actually gonna go a bit lower size here. But a strong close above London session is in itself a long trigger. We're at 7 points. So I'm placing my orders. Something like this. I think we're gonna get filled long. And checking the DAX quickly as well. So it is a 55-point bar now. And the DAX on this entry, which is the second 15-minute bar in the US session, break of this bar, I've made in the past 60 points, 35 points, 90 points, 55 points, 25 points, 18 points. So you do have days when you don't make a lot of points and you have the outliers of 90 points, 60 points, 55. So I think if I go with an average here, it would be around a 40-point target with a 57 to 58 point stop loss. Perhaps not the greatest. But not the worst either. I would have to go a bit lower in size here. But let's see. I think it's still worth to take it on average. 2.5 points to 3 points cushion. Okay, we're still at the lows here in the Dow. So we are testing Asia's session low here. And we're kind of bouncing back up. So I'll just close the add-on here. And whatever happens, I'm happy. So made like what, $45 in the Dow here quite quickly. That's nice. And I was kind of waiting for a reaction at Asia low here, and we got it. So even if we reverse here again, I'm happy. And we're actually not far off. Not far off take profit in the Nasdaq here. It would be nice to see such a quick TP. I'm not gonna adjust it. We are how many points in profit? So we're over 50 points. This to me means I should raise the stop loss. Initially I will raise it here, right below this breakout candle. Because obviously if we reverse this much, it's good to just save money. We're probably going to go for the low end of the range as well. And we got filled in gold as well here. Let me just remove the short order and placing stop below. So stop is still over 0.5 here, even with this low of a sizing. So what I'll do here is I will take a bit off. And now we're just risking 47. And considering we're at all-time highs here, I might just let this run and see what happens. We are at 2013. I don't even know what target to place here. If I go by my spreadsheet, generally make at best 10 points in this move. So that would be 28 to 23. I'll just go to 28, 21.6 here. Just go for an even $40, which is still a bit ambitious because it's like 8 points. And we've only made 10 points twice. And the rest of the times we made 7 points, 8 points, 6.5 points. So it might be a bit more than what we can expect, but we're at all-time highs, so I think we can be a bit ambitious here. Target isn't really that great in terms of money, but I was forced to use smaller sizing because of quite a large trigger bar, and to respect the strategy, I have to go with the stop below the bar. This is how I calculate my points, so the stop loss needs to be under or above completely to be valid. So I'll just let this run. I am once again buying gold at the top. And we're very close to TP here in the Nasdaq. What has happened in the Nasdaq yesterday? Let's see, we initially rallied and then sold. Days ago we sold throughout the day. Yeah, I don't see a pattern, so I think I can let it run here. Obviously, if I see that we struggle to go further up, I might just close it, but for now this is it. I might also take the break of the fourth bar in the SPX. That is my last planned entry for the day, but we'll see how things look when we get there. So I'll pause you a bit here. We have 2 open positions and waiting to fill in the DAX as well. Nice execution so far. We already made a bit of money in the US session, and let's see how we continue. Bringing it back here, so let me just change to a smaller time frame here. We retraced a bit. Now we're trying to go back up. In the Nasdaq, I might close this early if we go below this trend line on the 1 minute. I'm actually just gonna take the stop loss to break even here. It's a Friday and I don't really plan on letting these run throughout the day and into the close. Friday closes are usually some of the most difficult to predict. Sometimes there's profit taking, sometimes there's lower volume later in the session, so I don't really want to get caught up in that. I would like to see this TP hit though. And gold is marching on. Just insane run of strength in the gold, even today. I was actually considering going long around here today, but it was at a time where the lunch break happens. Oh, did we just hit? Oh, we just hit. Nice. So we just hit TP and Nasdaq, that's nice. As I was saying, in gold here, I was thinking about entering long here. I had gotten stopped out earlier of my mechanical short position, but I did move the stop loss, so I lost. Oh, actually no, I moved it to break even, so I lost nothing. But when we went below here again and then back into the range, I considered going long, but I was just getting ready to leave for my lunch break as well. And generally, I don't like to take trades at lunch break because you do have lower volume usually. And then it just exploded from here, but that's fine. I don't really have FOMO anymore, and this is something that has been cured with mechanical entries, because as you can see, I don't really miss big moves when I use these strategies. The kryptonite for the strategy that I'm employing is when you don't trend, when we're just stuck in a range. That's when the taking longs at the top and shorts at the bottom of a range can be costly, but obviously when you get into a period where that happens, I adjust my entries as well. This is why I am tracking everything and we're writing things down in a spreadsheet, and I think at one point I'll make a video to show how I do that. But for now, just know that every single entry is heavily researched, and I have the amount of points that I make or lose on each entry on each day, and then I can easily just check the spreadsheet and see how each entry is doing recently, and it's there I decide which are worth taking and which need more time or are just not profitable at the moment. So to just give an example of an entry that used to be very profitable, but it's not now. For example, the second 15-minute bar in the Dow Jones Index, this used to be very profitable for a long time. Break of this bar. Recently, it has not returned a profit, so it would be a short below this bar and a long above. We would be filled short now and retraced, so we would be in the negative on this entry right now. But I still track this entry, and at one point in the future, this entry will become super profitable again, and it's then that I'll start taking it again. And I will have research in front of me that shows that that entry is profitable at that point in time. But yeah, it was a nice TP in the Nasdaq. Once again, as you can see, we kind of sniped at the top here. Just like in the morning, like I keep saying, this isn't luck. It might look lucky, and of course some luck is involved. Obviously, you will sometimes be very unlucky and just miss out before a reversal, and you can have a string of that happening, of course. But this take profit was calculated by using structure, so looking to the left on a higher time frame and seeing which are spots where we might see a reaction, and by also checking my spreadsheet and seeing how many points I usually make on this particular entry. So there are two things that go into deciding the take profit target. So it's not random, but this doesn't mean that we can't continue going further up here. But I'm happy to just take my planned entry and hit target and get out. So a bit of a retracement now in gold, but we'll manage it. And still no fill in the DAX. If we now start ranging for a long time here, I might just delete the orders. You generally want to see an entry in the following 30 minutes to at most an hour. If it doesn't happen, then probably that particular entry isn't really that interesting anymore. But yeah, I'll pause you now because I've been talking a lot. But I just wanted to go into a bit more detail about my strategies, and hopefully it's easier to follow and understand what I'm doing, and you can see the power of good research and having just everything laid down and clear rules on what you're doing. With that said, I'll pause you for now and wait for something to happen here, and I'll bring you back then. The fourth 15-minute bar in SPX has completed here. And I have to move a bit quickly here. I'm just going to manually enter long here because we've broken above the fourth 15-minute candle. Just placing the stop here, so risking just $32. And again, for Friday, it's pretty standard. And for a target, looking at the research, 14 points, 23 points, 16 points, 20 points, 15 points, 10 points. I think 15 points is the way to go, targeting $45 and risking 32, so that's a nice proportion there. And gold is retracing here a bit. There is, however, a chance that London high acts as support now, but we'll see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We've rallied for quite a bit in gold, of course, and if we get a loss here, it's nothing tragic. And I think I'll delete the orders for the DAX because we're just so far away from a fill that I'm not that interested anymore. I want to see a fill happen much quickly. So as you've seen for SPX here, we went above the fourth bar immediately. Now it doesn't have to happen immediately every time, but if it takes like more than an hour for a fill, I'm usually not taking it. Okay, so these are the last trades of the day. The gold trade and the SPX trade. Let's hope for at least another TP. If we lose both, we'll still end the day in profit. So whatever happens, it's been a nice day. Good execution, I think. I've shown that, and no reason to not be optimistic for these trades as well, even if we're in a bit of drawdown here. There's a lot of demand below. And if not, obviously, like I said, it's Friday, end of the week. This is why I've actually gone a bit smaller. Even in SPX, I could have gone a bit higher in size, but I think that's fine. And I'll let these run for maybe an hour and a half and see where we are. And I'll pause you for now and bring you back when something happens or when I decide to call it a day. So pausing you now. So final update, we've waited like an hour and a half, 2 hours since I've last spoken. Sadly, we did get stopped out in both here. I did consider closing them early when they started reversing, but I don't think that's really good practice. And as you can see, we just dumped here, touched London high, and then bounced back up. So a bit of an unlucky stop here, but you know, whatever, it happens. Still overall up on the day, and I'm really happy with the execution today. As usual, Friday end of the US session can be a bit tricky, but I'm fine with letting the trades run. Sometimes you just get stopped out and there's not much else to really consider. So hopefully you managed to learn something. I'm also happy that I avoided the second 15-minute bar in the DAX. I would have gotten filled short and I would be getting stopped out right about now. When I see this ranging inside the bar for so long, I am getting out of it, and that was a good decision. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this video and the trading this week, and if you have questions, of course, feel free to ask, and I will see you next week with more mechanical trading. So if you want to see more, please subscribe and like the videos, and I will try to soon make a few more explanatory videos talking about my strategy, and yeah, that should be nice. So thank you and have a nice weekend.